Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and welcome to another episode of Fireside Flow. And in this episode, we're going to be looking more into who are the human guardians, plus the looking glass psychic technology. So to begin with our second episode of Fireside Flow, we're going to look a little bit more into the nature of the human guardians. Now, the human guardians were termed as such by Adronis when I was channeling him in the past. He was discussing the nature of these human beings who are from Earth, and they range in different time periods relating to their assistants functioning as a type of cosmic administration for the Earth. Prior to beginning this episode tonight, I was getting some flow about the nature of the human guardians themselves, and their story is extremely vast, which means we're not going to be able to get it all out in this episode, not even close. For their nature of being here is so vast. The only thing that really can be shared is a compact version about why the human guardians are here, why they are stationed upon the moon, our moon, and what are they here to do. So Spirit shares with me this insight through its intelligence, and I do what I can to best interpret the information as it comes through. So as I said, the human guardians are us. They are human beings. They are from Earth. And there are a great deal of them, well within the hundreds of thousands or perhaps even the millions. These we could refer to as future selves, basically emerged from another universe, another Earth, another dimension. And in their time, our galaxy was under the authority of great tyranny. Not only that, but many galaxies were. The more deeper that we go into their timeline, many thousands and thousands of years forward, the greater the tyranny is. Well, who are these tyrants? We are. Just as we would understand that a dark cult, that a secret order, that an old corrupt regime, devil worshippers, have run this world for thousands of years. Imagine that on a cosmic level. Imagine that on a galactic level. Imagine that on a universal level. I have talked about before that the human race is the most powerful race out of any in existence. Some have understood that, some have not. But the fact of the matter, this is the case, this is the truth. We are God's ultimate creation. There is no other civilization within all of the cosmos that holds so much capability of contrast, of strength, of the capability to truly be gods more than the human race. We are the ultimate race. Of course, we certainly don't act like it, because we don't know our potential. We don't know what we're capable of. But going ahead many thousands of years, the humans of that time, in some way, are aware of that. Because a lot of the technology that exists thousands of years in the future, on a linear basis, talking about this, is not our nuts and bolts technology. It's not analog, it's not digital. It's none of those. That's all primitive technology. That's nothing. That's Neanderthal technology. No, the true technology that's at play here is quantum technology. It's psychic technology, or we could refer to it as psionic technology. And this psionic technology was weaponized. And just like these ancient societies, these secret societies that have been dominating the earth for thousands of years, this is their descendants. They would again weaponize space. They would conquer planets. They would put them under similar rule, just like what we have gone here through Earth. And just imagine that thousands of years evolved. Many thousands of years that pass. How many planets would be under their rule? But not even that. What is even quite surprising is the type of technology that they possess. We couldn't even fathom it nowadays. We could not imagine it, yet this is what they possess. They utilize the power of thought form. And their followers go well into the many millions, perhaps even billions. And that they all collectively put their intention in to dominate and to rule. To conquer civilizations, to conquer other dimensions. It's a horrible thought. But this is where humanity ended up in their universe. It was a tyranny that was so vast, it even put the idea of reptilian agendas to shame. So again, this is where they emerged. And it was a divine plan for them to utilize technology to leave this universe and to go into another universe that would affect the universe to which they indigenously came from, because it was part of a spirit agreement. So during this universal takeover, this tyranny that was taking place, there were resistance groups that were forming, that were opposing the idea of this rule, but they were heavily overwhelmed. The contamination in their universe was so severe, it would not be able to be salvaged without almost complete and total annihilation of countless people. So instead, there was a decision for them to utilize technology that would go into another universe directly linked to their own indigenous one and start again from scratch. This is what's happened. This goes back into the dawn of our time. When we look at the human guardians, again, just as Adronis calls them, we're looking at ourselves. We're looking at ourselves from another universe that was turned into absolute tyranny. It was galactic and universal totalitarianism from these dark cult members, from these elites who were able to expand throughout the galaxy and conquer other worlds, visit other galaxies and conquer them. And it was like a parasitical plague that just infected so many different galaxies. Again, the further that you would go ahead, the thousands of years ahead. It was unbelievable. And so these human guardians formed a pact together. And they came here into this universe, again, perhaps by the hundreds of thousands or millions. The number is not certain. A great deal of them. And Earth was the center point. Earth was ground zero. And many of these humans that did come back into this universe, that did go back into the ancient times, many of them migrated into the inner Earth. Many of them also helped to create confederations. We could say that they may not have been the direct creators, but they were heavy innovators and influencers of these different federations that would come together, because they were being told to work together with these other civilizations that are indigenous to our universe to help prevent the greatest calamity any race would ever know. And that calamity is the human race. In regards to its manipulation. So the human guardians have been here prior to the dawn of man, because they are us. And they are capable of traveling to any particular time period of their choosing. So again, there are, you could say, generals, and there are administrators. There are, I would say, spiritual enthusiasts, sages, monks, right? All walks of life, really. Anyone that would assist in contributing, in helping bringing the human situation into a much more harmonious timeline, we're welcome. So we could look into our ancient inner earth societies, and we would see the human guardians. We would see beings that would come throughout our courses of history who were very human and helped to guide humanity upon the right path. These are the human guardians. Throughout the course of our history, from the present day going back into ancient Atlantis, going back to Lemuria, going back to pre-Adamite civilization, a lot of the influence that welcomed in the time for humanity was through this human guardianship, or the cosmic administration. Because you would have an entire alliance together, not just of human beings, but of godlike spiritual beings that guided them and that they guided us. The rise and fall of civilizations, again, had different forms of influences from the human guardians. It goes back so far. It extends back such a ways that, again, I can't really summarize it even accurately in this video, because it is so extensive. A lot of their decisions, even though it did cost certain lives of people on the planet, a lot of their decisions helped to preserve humanity on a much grander level. Because there were attempts for World War III, there were attempts for more wars that would have consumed so much of the human race. Atlantis by far was the most destructive. But it could have been even worse. It could have led to the entire destruction of the Earth. And we would have had no more planet. So again, there is a lot of convolution behind their presence here in this universe. But their goal is to ensure that humanity steers upon the right path, that we are not to go the path of the artificial. We are not to go the path of the corrupt. We're not to go the path of psychopaths, of sadists, of murderers, of genocidal maniacs, people that traffic humans, children. Again, all of that. It is absolutely essential that humanity does not follow that path. And that was the agreement from the very beginning when the human guardians came here. But like I said, they're us. They are human beings. They are from the earth. A different earth, but an earth nonetheless. And so here they are. From what Adronis shared, that they are upon the moon currently. Not all of them, but some of the key personnel, I could say, are stationed upon the moon. That's their lookout. That's their monitoring station. And they get guidance in many different ways. They get guidance from higher spiritual beings, from godlike beings, from these creator gods. Again, part of cosmic administration, you could say. And there's just many different branches to what they represent. Right? There's military, there's education, there's technological branches, there's scientific branches, there's reconnaissance, there's stellar armadas as well. You could almost say kind of like a star fleet to which they represent. It's very vast. We don't know how big the human guardians are. Like I said, it could be hundreds of thousands, it could be many millions. But there's lots of them. And they're all here as the very essence of the counterforce. When this entire planet was plagued with darkness, they realized it was a time to where humanity needed to go through its growing pains. Because what drove humanity to tyranny in their universe was that humanity was spoiled. It was given too much power too soon. And because of all this power, this is what led them astray. They became corrupt, contaminated, polluted with the idea to rule. Because no one would really be around to slap them around. They would not get the life lessons to discipline themselves. They were given too much too soon. And this is precisely what Atlantis represented. Atlantis was the prime example of what humanity would turn into when it was given too much power too soon. It turned into, like we see here, in the pit. It was a civilization that burned themselves up because they were given too much power too quickly. They did not know what to do with this power, and they became corrupt. The hearts of man at that time were easily assuaged to moving much more away from the light and more into the dark, because they saw themselves as gods, when they have not attained that discipline to know what it is to truly be a God man, a God woman. And so they've faltered down the path. And the only way to reconcile that situation was again to use a reset. And that is what led to the Atlantean disaster. For if it did not, again, the entire earth could have been destroyed. And of course, there would be nothing left. So therefore, intervention came together, dropped a graviton bomb upon the earth, with them utilizing this crystalline technology. And that is what encompassed the great Atlantean disaster. It was this graviton bomb, or the effect of a graviton bomb, that was so intense, it made what happened in Hiroshima look like a firecracker. It was the worst disaster in human history, with the fall of Atlantis and the effect of the world afterwards. So again, that needed to be done to prevent humanity from spiraling out of control, to again have sat back and done nothing. Then again, it could have led to not only the destruction of the earth, possibly humanity again, growing ever more sadistic and wanting to travel to other worlds and dominate them, to the survivors. The survivors that would be able to survive those disasters, moving to other worlds and slowly dominating them too. And so again, a lot of the dark cult members that we know today, a lot of them are these reincarnated beings that once existed in Atlantis, that were the kings and queens, the emperors, royalty, noblemen, noblewomen. And they would do the same thing again. They would do it in Egypt. They would do it in Samaria. They would do it in Peru. They would do it in China. They would do it throughout Greece, the Roman Empire. It just went on and on until there was a greater decision made. That this time here in the modern era, we would not repeat what happened so many times before with other civilizations. The rise and fall of civilization. No, it was going to change this time. And the human guardians were on the call to ensure that we did not have to reset this time. No more resetting. No more ending the game and having to start over again. It doesn't work. That's why it was stopped. No, this time we're going to send human guardians in through the incarnation cycle, and we're going to change everything from within. And this was a very, very daring plan because it was never done before. Over time, there were certain beings that would come through to help lead civilization forward. But en masse incarnation of human guardians coming here to what we could commonly refer to as starseeds or wanderers, indigo children, rainbow children. These are all names of guardians, the human guardians, because they've done all this work. They have extensive amounts of history in being able to turn around worlds. These really what represented the resistance. And again, this is just a small degree of understanding one's soul's journey. But nonetheless, incarnationally speaking, they had the experience. And so this was the great plan. And the plan started to happen around the early part of the 20th century. This is when the first pioneers started to come forward because they knew what humanity was going to get involved with. They knew that they were going to get involved with a First World War and a Second World War and do everything we possibly could to stop the third. Because if there was a Third World War, it would have been a multitude of times more destructive than either of the world wars put together. That was the goal. Stop World War III. Can't happen. Not allowed to happen. And so it did. It happened. There was prevention of that. World War III was originally supposed to happen around the 80s or the 90s. And it continued to get postponed and delayed. But there is success. Because Spirit therefore sees what is to come to pass, and the human guardians would therefore keep their bodies in stasis, come here and incarnate by the millions, again, hundreds of thousands by the millions, all depending on how many there are in association to this task. And this would be the human guardian ground crew. And guess what, guys? A lot of us are these human guardians. A lot of us are. This is something that you have to look into your soul to truly know, to truly feel. Yes, I have that guardianship. I have that starseed connection. I have that indigo child connection. I have that wayshower connection. Then you would see yourself as a human guardian. And very most likely you would have a body in stasis. That when this life concludes, you go back to it. as long as you're not too heavily tethered to the earth. So the human guardians, again, many of the cosmic administrators, are on the moon with their associates. There are other civilizations as well too, humanoid and non-humanoid, that are also working behind the scenes to help out the human guardians as well. And again, they receive intelligence from the higher planes, and they also receive intelligence through technology, because the technology can help them to convene with the higher forces, the forces of light. And this comes into our second discussion about looking glass. Looking glass psychic technology. It was in the past when David Wilcock was actually talking a lot about looking glass technology. Project Camelot in the past also talked about looking glass technology. But what is not discussed is that looking glass technology takes many different forms. There are different variances relating to looking glass technology. I have described in the past, because I've had visions of looking glass technology, that it looks like 3 rings. These rings are going around, and they're basically spinning at an incredible rate, and it uses some type of gas. It's a type of gas that is, again, perhaps through a state of alchemy, where this gas is basically fired in through this chamber, and these rings start spinning around, and there is a barrel that contains liquid that basically utilizes this technology as a type of artificial pineal gland. And when a person is present with the looking glass technology, they are interfacing it through psionic capability. It's a psychic instrument, and you are able to connect with it, and it is able to show you glimpses of possibilities relating to timelines. These timelines, linearly speaking, can be of the past, present, future, but they just represent probabilities. They can show a lot more. They can even be used as communication devices. If there is another looking glass technology to where 2 or more people are using it, they can actually interface with each other using looking glass technology. But it basically utilizes all of its technology to create the intention of developing an artificial pineal gland. It's a psychic connection. It's psionic. It's telepathic. But it even goes beyond that, because it can look into deeper dimensions. And again, through these intentions of saying, tell me what is ahead. What is happening next Christmas? What is happening in 10 years from now? So on and so forth. And then people would actually be able to see these visions. You could have a whole room of people where someone is functioning as a type of administrator or operator, because they have worked very sophisticatedly with the looking glass technology, and they're able to see these visions appear. And again, there's some type of combination of gas that arises from these vents or chambers. And again, that gas can almost be, again, almost like a type of ectoplasm. That would be the best way I could put it. I don't know the scientific explanation for how these things happen. Again, just when I've seen the feeling of looking glass, even when I'm looking at it right now, I can see again that there's contained, like a contained gas. And it's very similar to a feeling of ectoplasm. Ectoplasm, again, is often a type of excretion of substance that mediums were able to excrete from their body so that spirit could take some form through the ectoplasm excreted. It's something our bodies can naturally produce. Again, through people in mediumship, people going into trance, ectoplasm would come out. Again, it could be like a type of gel or slime in that particular way. Sometimes it could be gaseous. And spirit would be able to take the form, just like you see with the smoke here. Imagine that as a type of ectoplasm, and spirit can come in and actually mimic that form. Well, this again is somewhat different. It's using some type of ectoplasmic-like substance and being able to conjure images, like how you would see visions from within yourself. It's so highly sophisticated. I do not know how it is built. I do not know how it is constructed. But again, I can see it. And it's very true. Looking glass technology is very real. And it can be very dangerous at the same time. This is why the public is not to know about it at this time, other than from these testimonies. To get access to looking glass technology can be very dangerous. It can be used for deceitful ends as well as harmonious ends. But nonetheless, Adronis was talking about the human guardians, and he said that they do have looking glass technology that has been left behind on the moon that they are now powering up and using. And they are meeting together with other military personnel, other members of the counter forces here on the Earth. And they will often meet with them in underground installations, deep underground military bases. And they will share their findings from what they have been able to discover, through what they get either through looking glass or through what they're being told from spirit beings, from the true higher cosmic administration. And they would give direct instructions to the counterforce ground crew on what to do, what needed to be done. So again, the looking glass technology still has a bit of a veil of mystery behind it. Again, I do not know how it is built. I do not know how it is constructed. But perhaps one day, when humanity matures enough, we will be able to see the nature of the looking glass technology available to us. Like I said, it can be used for communication. It can be used for forecasting. It could also be used to actually open up portals to other dimensions. It could also be used as a stargate. This is why I say there's very different variances of the looking glass technology, not only as a monitoring device, but also as a portal device. So perhaps one day in the future, we will know more about it. But in a nutshell, this is what I can share for now, relating to the nature of the human guardians and to looking glass technology. I'll be doing some more updates on these subjects in the times ahead as time goes by, and perhaps more can be revealed during that time. Thank you so much for watching Fireside Flow, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can check out the websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can order a private session, 3 questions by email, EQ method, and a lot more. And you can also check out healingcodecards.com, where you can grab your mind deck, your body deck, and of course the brand new body deck special edition. All of these are available in digital editions as well. And you can also get a shirt just like this through healingcodeshop.com, where you can experience the healing codes in apparel form. So feel free to check out these websites. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well.